I'm filming this a few hours before Point and Shoot comes out, episode 8 of the second part of this finale of this final season. And I wanted to make this to get predictions and all that. The first half of the season was very it basically gave us what we wanted. Or not gave us, it pretty much happened as expected. Well, not really, but it kind of did anyways, because of the Howard thing at the end of season 5, and Lalo finding out about the lab, which pretty much nothing really happened with that plot besides Gus being paranoid for a very long few episodes, and he got found out in the season finale, or half part finale, and now we get to find out what happens next. Nacho's dead, Howard's dead, and so we should be dissolving into Better Call Saul madness at this point. Walter White's gonna pop in, he's gonna kill Lalo, it's gonna be insane. And then we're gonna see the Gene timeline. It's pretty much everything you wanted to see. They also recast Jeff, and that's very annoying because the original actor was way too good for his role. And so they better have given it a better new actor, but probably not, because the OG Jeff, masterpiece. Or they were tricking us, and if they are, wow, why'd they do that? Because they aren't using any Jeff scenes, and they keep showing this new guy in a cab for some reason, but they also won't show his face. Especially in the Better Call Saul recap that got posted yesterday, and it's just like, why? So that's annoying. I like the old Jeff, and if they make it a new one, the whole show is ruined, and I am pissed off. I probably said this at the intro of the first review, but now it will be crazy. Everyone's saying that though. But on to my predictions. Walter White, he will be in episode 10 because Bryan Cranston said they filmed in January. And on the Thomas Snow's Twitter page, he said he was filming episode 10 in January. So we are going to be in the Breaking Bad timeline by episode 10. And the last 3 episodes will be Gene episodes with no intro. And I am a genius if this is right, or you'll look back and laugh at this. And so I guess we got 2 more episodes of the Better Call Saul timeline, maybe. I guess that fits, because there's not much more to happen. Lalo could die in episode 9. Saul will finally finish the office and have the Joker outfit we've seen in the episodes, the purple jacket and all that. And yeah, that'll be it. But, I like to film these, before, to see like how my opinion changes and progresses. So probably by the end of this review, I could be disappointed or happy. And if I am disappointed, I probably will make a much longer video that's actually edited to support my opinion. Yeah, that is my intro. Hopefully I did not forget anything. Oh yeah, also, another one of my predictions is Saul will be scared of Lalo, and that's why he's wearing a freaking strap in the teaser of where he says, though the heavens fall, whatever. And the security room behind the mirror, that's a protection against Lalo. I feel like I said that in my previous review, but if I didn't, I'm just gonna say I thought it then, and I'm gonna say it here before episode 8 and 9. Yeah, thank you for watching this intro, probably pretty long. Anyways, Point and Shoot, yeah. Just saw Point and Shoot, and I loved it. It's probably better because 2 months long wait, get more excited for it, because you could tell I was kind of just I just wanted to see the episodes at that point at the end of the first part of the season, but then again they were kind of slow. But yeah, this ended pretty much the Lalo storyline, the Howard storyline, so it's pretty much like, where can it go from here? We got Gene next 2 episodes probably will be like, just catching up, day in the life, get to where we were in Breaking Bad. I knew, I didn't know, I kind of knew the theory that Lalo was buried, but I didn't think Howard would be too. But, it does make sense. It is kind of like a dichotomy between good and evil, like in a shot where they're both together. But why don't they bury Gus's guards too? Because, they were shot, and there was like 3 of them. And I wonder how Lalo and Howard's bodies, like, weren't found in Breaking Bad. Because I did watch the review. I did watch the first episode of season 5, where Hank finds the burnt lab, and they don't really seem to mention it. They only seem to mention the guards Walt killed in the end of season 4. But it has been like 4 years, and the bodies are probably in very bad shape, and the lab was burned too, pretty badly. Maybe it would have been better if the mid-season finale ended here, but actually, never mind. It's better because it's a cliffhanger, and it would be better if I knew what happened and I could just wait 2 months in peace, but the writers aren't like that. So I'm very interested to see where things go. Jimmy thinks Lalo went after Nacho because he mentioned him before he left, and since Mike didn't tell him because, he doesn't really like him that much. And he also probably was told not to. He thinks he went after Nacho, and that's where we get the line in his first appearance in Breaking Bad. It was Ignacio, he was the one. And, he used kind of similar lines, too, when Lalo was tying him up. So, Kim's fate is really up in the air in episode 9. It'll probably be, like, really important before we have a time jump in episode 10, probably. She might be gone, she might be not. But, I still see her in the picture in Breaking Bad. Also, there's not much going on in Gus or Mike's storyline right now, so it'll mostly be a Jimmy and Kim centric episode. But one theory I have is that since Hector doesn't look Gus in the eye in Breaking Bad, he probably knew something was up because he's the only one in the Salamanca family who knew that Lalo was alive. So he kind of holds some resentment and thinks something is up. And there'll probably be a scene similar to that, but I don't really know why he didn't tell anyone in the family. But it's kind of hard too, but he could. It's been like 4 years at that point. He could probably tell, but he did tell him, and Gus did tell Hector in season 3 after he killed Don Eduardo that he killed him. So yeah, I guess he can't really do anything. But yeah, that's my mouthful for this episode. Yeah, hopefully I'm right. The next episode's called Fun and Games, so it'll be fun and games for Jimmy and Kim. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, in the trailer that played for episode 9, Jimmy uses the exact same dialogue, like the "one day you'll forget about it" that Mike said to him after the Bagman episode. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you in episode 9. Alright, what an amazing episode. Honestly, I've had to give it a few hours to write all the notes I need and everything, because it's a big episode. Might be even bigger than Point and Shoot, but it's mostly like a aftermath of the last 2 episodes, pretty much. And it is a ginormous episode. I did not expect that, but it did pretty much live up to my predictions, even though I said there wasn't going to be that much Gus. The first 30 minutes pretty much is. But it's nice to see how Gus and Mike are before the end of the timeline. But I really like the scene where Gus is in the bar and he closes himself off from that one dude uh, because of his need for revenge on Max. I think that's what it's been implied. It's a really subtle show in general, so pretty much everything is implied. The Kim breaking up with Jimmy and then cutting to the time jump in the first Better Call Saul episode, or no, the first Breaking Bad episode called Better Call Saul was amazing. It was subtle too. They didn't do the stupid theory I've seen online where he's like, "Call in Mr. Mayhew." Nah, it's just like he's wearing the suit, and you could just like, I mean, if you're an an adamant fan, at least you could tell what's happening, and he's talking about the public masturbator and stuff. Uh, it is very cool. I'm gonna love to see where it goes next. And I guess those stupid theories were kind of true in a way. Uh, the timeline is still iffy because we don't know how he got the Statue of Liberty or how he got the house and stuff. But it doesn't really matter to me because it time jumps at the perfect moment and it's completely emotional. And you see how he's deflected so hard at this point. He's hardly even like a real human. If there was ever an image to betray what this series is about, I think it'd probably be the season 4 one of him holding the happy face with the black and white one behind it. That image defines this series, in my opinion. And also about the timeline thing, there's a deleted scene in season 3 of Breaking Bad where after Walter lives in an apartment and Saul's trying to convince him to come back and cook meth. He says this is where he ended up after his third wife divorced him. Even though Peter Gould said on Twitter today that it wasn't canon, but I'll still take it as canon because it still works. And there isn't a scene that's deleted after he talks to Walt and tells him not to hang himself in the closet. He walks to his car and looks like he knows what Walt's going through, and it's just like amazing foreshadowing. I'll put it on the screen right here. It's amazing foreshadowing. I don't know why that scene was in Breaking Bad in general, because Saul isn't even a character. But even in my rewatch of Breaking Bad, before this scene came out, I still felt this scene was odd. And when I was thinking about this episode, I thought of this, and I had to say it for this. I don't know, people probably notice it by now because the Breaking Bad fandom is crazy, notice everything, but I don't know if that's a unique take or not. Yeah, so it's crazy that that deleted scene actually paid off. And honestly, Jimmy's gone through so much in the past few seasons, and it's surprising, like, when he's full Saul Goodman, like he was at the end of this episode, he didn't really break bad as much as Walter did. His story arc is completely believable, and that's why I love him, so much. Honestly, I think season 6 was the best possible place for me to drop in and watch it on a weekly basis. There's so many twists and turns this season, and it's really amazing to see the discussion every week. It would be the same as the previous seasons, but I prefer to watch it as a whole, like I did. And honestly, this episode was sad. I don't really know if I want to rewatch it, And to think that all this happened just because the skateboarders hit the wrong car. These stories are such a beautiful domino effect, pretty much. In the teaser for the next episode, where it's in a store and Jimmy's I don't know, trying to buy all of the Saul clothes or something. That's what I think is happening. But I just love how they're so cryptic. I don't really know what's gonna happen next week, like I did this episode either. And I'm just loving seeing what's happening because I kind of knew what was gonna happen in the first part of the season, but I don't know what's happening next. Speaking of what's happening next, the next episode is called Nippy for some reason. Probably because we finally get out of the Better Call Saul timeline, so we could end the X and Y naming convention. Also, Nippy probably refers to Gene, so we're gonna have Gene and Breaking Bad stuff. so this will be a big fan serving episode. I'm like really excited. Also, I think it's called Nippy because, it's cold and Gene takes place in the winter. Get it? So that's like the only reason I think Gene's in this episode. Even if he's not, we at least get Walter White and Jesse. I guess probably. I don't know why I'm saying probably. It's like probably like a 99% chance that will happen. Also, speaking of Gene, I have a pretty obvious theory since Saul probably hasn't seen Kim in years, but maybe he still talks to her because of the phone call in the season 4 flash forward where he's in the office and he's packing up and telling Francesca to get the call. Maybe that's how the series will end. Gene will turn himself in and he'll call Kim over the phone, and that's how the show will end. It's a pretty dark ending, but I think it fits the character, even though I don't think Jimmy deserves it. I don't know if it's a bad thing to say, but I feel lots of sympathy for Jimmy. And I don't know why Gene is so nostalgic for Saul, because when he watches those tapes in the first flash forward, it's like he really cares about being Saul. But they did write this series before knowing what they were doing. I mean, they did have a more definitive ending than Breaking Bad did. But they did, season 1 ending was more victorious, and they're planning to make it Saul way earlier, and it probably wasn't going to be this sad, honestly. But I think that's all I have to say. This is probably the most I've ever said on any episode so far. Probably a good 10 minutes, I don't know. But I'm excited to talk about next week's episode, and I'm just going to say it. This is the best prequel ever made. Don't at me. It's true. I can't think of anything better. That's all I'm saying. Bye. So, the episode Nippy. As expected, it's different from all 9 episodes, and maybe the rest of the show. This episode, it does away with the X and Y formula that they've been doing, and it has the name Nippy. And I know last time I said I thought it meant cold, but it's actually the name of the dog or Gene's fake dog. It was an interesting choice for the whole entirety of this episode to be a Gene episode. I was thinking the intro would be maybe, especially since we left off with Saul last time. I don't exactly get the choice of why they decided to make this a Gene episode. Maybe the next episode will just be Saul timeline and stuff. I don't know. This could have been like the first episode of the season, but I don't know. Maybe it works better if it isn't. Maybe though, because Jimmy became Saul last episode. It's time for Gene, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better to actually make this like episode 12 or something. But I haven't seen the last 3 episodes, so I don't know how the structure of this is working right now. But without talking about all that, it was a good episode. I did like it. But it does bring into question, what was the point of it? I don't know. And since this is episode 10, the VHS cut out, and it's just a complete blue tracking thing now. It just says Better Call Saul. That's it. So that's probably how it's going to be for the next 3 episodes, probably. And also, talking about the next episodes, the name hasn't been revealed for the next 3, or even just episode 11 in general. Like, when the episode 8 came out, we already had the names for Fun and Game and Nippy, so I don't know what's up with that, but maybe they aren't just going to reveal anything, because there was no teasers or anything this week. All they showed was Francesca on the Instagram and Twitter account, and that wasn't even in this episode. But that was a new image, I think, could have been just from episode 10. I mean, episode 9. But that Francesca image is probably from episode 11 or 12. Also, since the whole episode was black and white, the credits were also too. That was pretty cool. You know, the credits never play, like the opening credits never play over a Gene sequence. So when it says like executive producer and stuff, it's like in yellow. But this time it was black and white. And that was cool. Also, like the actual end credits were too. And yeah, they actually recast Jeff. After watching the episode, I did not mind the Jeff. I did not mind the new Jeff. He wasn't bad, but yeah, he wasn't meant to be intimidating like he was last time. So you know, it worked. It's more of a nervous kind of Jeff. And also, the new character is actually Jeff's mother, which is crazy. I thought it was going to be Judge Papadumi, which I like that theory, because the last episode would be a court episode, and it would be Judge Papadumi, who Saul's reference for like the entirety of the show for some reason. But I guess it's not Judge Papadumi, sadly. When Gene refers to Walter in this scene, I don't know why he refers to him as a 50-year-old chemistry teacher. Like, Jeff wouldn't know who it is, because that's the reason Saul's on the run. So it's like, I'm pretty sure, and that's probably his claim to fame from people outside Albuquerque too. So I don't know why that's like, he's acting like Jeff wouldn't know. But Gene is way happier now. But he still wants to be Saul again. I wonder why we finished the Jeff storyline so fast, unless he like rats on him because he's pissed off at him for not working with them, or he gets caught, or that was just literally the end. Like, maybe the ending of him putting up the tie is just him giving up scams, and you know, he's happy being a Cinnabon manager. I mean, that sounds pretty fun, right? But you know, that's a weak theory, and they would just end the Gene storyline on episode 10. That makes no sense. So I regret even saying that, but I'm gonna leave it here anyways. The only teaser where the audio is in it, where the audio isn't in the episode yet, has been the Kim Candle teaser. Because we had the happy ending. Gene said that in another one, I forgot. And also there was a Jeff teaser where he says the same dialogue like he did in the 501 Gene scene. So maybe those rumors about them remaking the scenes are true. Yep, or maybe that's just a teaser thing, I don't know. But anyway, speaking of teasers, the episode 11 teaser, where Jimmy, Saul, or Gene is saying you'll forget about it. The subtitles say Saul, so maybe it's actually Saul. But my theory is, this is actually Jimmy talking to Kim. He says, you'll forget about it, and then he just says go, like after a while. Because we're going to go back to 2004 and see what happens. But the time jumping's been pretty crazy recently. But yeah, that was the weirdest Cinnabon ad I've ever seen. Goodbye. So I'm going to make a little intermission before the next episode comes out, which is called Breaking Bad. Very on the nose title. We'll also see Gene, because the promo images are just Gene and not anything about Saul Goodman. I want to make this intermission because of some things I forgot to mention in the past two episodes, 9 and 10. I was being a dum-dum when I said that that the Saul Goodman flash forward was the day of Breaking Bad, season 2, episode 8, Better Call Saul. But to be fair, it did look like it was, because he was mentioning the public masturbator. He was wearing the green shirt, and Baby was crying in the office, so I just thought it was the same day. But I guess not, because now it's been confirmed to be 2005 or 7. No one really knows. But we will find out tomorrow, and we'll also find out what Gene's up to too. So big day, as always. I also want to talk about Nippy. I really did love what they did for the last episode. The mall really feels like it's actually inhabited by people now, like the mall security guard from previous seasons or the JCPenney woman, who you could actually see walking through the store, especially in like the last shot of Nippy. Actually like, or the janitor Gene always nods to, like in the season 2 opening. It really actually feels like its own micro world. It had its it had it previous times, but really just felt like I was there this time. Because normally you just see Gene being sad, making Cinnabons, but this time he's actually exploring different areas and stuff. And he's even happy at the end of the episode. I wanted to say something like that previously, but I can't really encapsulate that. So, I did watch the Insider podcast. They did say they've had planned this episode for seasons now, but I really did love what they did, meshing all the Gene episodes together so they actually like feel whole. Having the same actors, like bringing the same janitor back. I mean, that's crazy. Um, yeah. Anyways, tomorrow, Breaking Bad. Exciting, exciting. Alright, see you then. Guys, it finally happened. Episode 11, Breaking Bad. Now, it's not really like, uh, yes, it should be called Breaking Bad because half of it is like him leading up to finding Walter White in episode 208 when he first met him in Breaking Bad. And this is his new scam with a guy who also has cancer, and he's gonna fuck up his life again. Pretty much Jimmy walking up to the Walter's high school, and him walking to the. It's such a subtle moment, it's just like you're literally just walking up to something, but that's what makes this show great. It's the most down to earth random things, but are like the most true to character experiences, because it's literally the tiny moments. It's the tiny moments. Oh, I also love the detail in the Breaking Bad scene where it has like shaky cam like it did in Breaking Bad, and they have old YouTube and a PS3 controller. So much attention to the era they're in, pretty much. Jesse's probably a bit too old to play Jesse now. Even for El Camino. I don't know, it's just really noticeable here. But Walter didn't look bad, but he was wearing the freaking mask, so you couldn't see his bald cap. And tiny little detail, but this retconned the client development comic. It was basically a comic about Saul trying to find Walter during the exact same episode. But it pretty much follows Mike finding out about him, so it could still be canon. But the one scene that screws it up is when Mike calls Saul about Walter, which happens in this episode, but in a completely different way. Mike says he doesn't know what to think of Walter in the comic, but he says pretty much says the same thing in the show, that he thinks he's gonna get caught eventually. So I guess Mike just has a very good way of telling who people are, which I guess he shouldn't work around Saul Goodman then, if he thinks that way. But whatever. Also, I'll show the comic page on the screen right now. But speaking of that, this comic is pretty much the same exact thing. But when it's added to this episode, it adds like another dimension of dramatic irony and weight when he's like walking to the dude with cancer's house and he's gonna get caught again, and when he's walking to Walter's high school. He just pretty much keeps screwing up. He just keeps doing the same thing over and over again. And this is the episode where I just well, I didn't lose hope, but I just like, he really can't get out of this Jimmy mindset, and it's pretty much been that way all his life, pretty much. This is pretty much Jimmy's Ozymandias. I mean, his story is slow. It takes him years to get anywhere. But he's like a toxic person. He just keeps going lower and lower, and he is at his lowest point ever. I mean, I suppose Gene putting on the Saul thing away meant he was back being Saul. So it was a race back to the bottom. He had the same weird thing he has at Saul where he has his feet on the thing and it goes side to side. I don't know what it is, but he also has hookers and he has the same headset. He's just like spiraling back down to this after calling Kim again. And I like the decision where they didn't show what was said. He just couldn't leave anything alone. The Francesca call, it was not Kim, and I think that was a good decision. Um, yeah, there's pretty much nothing to talk about with Francesca. Everyone just moved on, who isn't dead at least, and Saul's just still there. My prison theory isn't too far off now, but will they find out that Gene is actually Saul though? Because I mean, he hides it pretty well, but especially when they fingerprint him and take him to the station or something. Yeah, that could. We only have 2 episodes left to tell us what the story is all about. Maybe it's just about addictions and falling down and, choosing a bad choice road, pretty much. He could be rehabilitated by the end. I don't know how 2 episodes are going to play out. Vince Gilligan is writing the next one, creator of Breaking Bad. And Peter Gould, who did Breaking Bad, but is pretty much the creator of this show. He's doing the last episode called Saul Gone. Next episode's called Waterworks. So Jimmy's gonna pull a real Waterworks for the cops. I just want him to pull through, the Walter scene was actually kind of pointless in the grand scheme of things, but only point of it was for Saul to figure out he has cancer, and I guess he has like sympathy for the underdog, so he wants to go get him as a client. Yeah, I really hope this doesn't end poorly, but it pretty much will. And Kim will be like, "I told you so, Jimmy," and that'll be the end. Yeah. Bye-bye. See you in Waterworks. I really didn't get that much out of it. Uh, the first half is Kim 6 years later. And those scenes were way overly long. All you needed to do was show the call and show her going back to Albuquerque. Damn, 30 minutes. Way too much. Could have been easily 15 or 10 minutes. Watch your pacing, Vince Gilligan. Jesus Christ. And so in the Gene half, we see him do the plan. He could have gone out easily, but he went upstairs for no reason. And now he thought the cops were after him or something, so he gets the dude to hit the taxi and then go to jail and have this overly complicated plan. And that doesn't go exactly that well because Marion finds out and calls the police, and that's how the episode ends. But, it pretty much could have happened in like 5 minutes, and the whole episode would have been the exact same. And also, I don't know what's up with the scene with Jesse. I don't get the point of it. I've been thinking about it for a whole day. He's just smoking with Jesse or with Kim, and all he says is Saul a good lawyer? And she's like, "Oh yeah, he used to be when I knew him." So that scene was pointless. And also, I think that scene with Jesse was like also the only time it's ever rained in this whole series. Like, the only time you ever see a slight bit of rain is, like, there's puddles in that one scene where Gus kills Juan Bolsa. Yeah, that's, like, the only scene I could think of that actually has rain in it, kind of, in a way. But, yeah, if that's the only thing I'm talking about this episode, yeah, nothing really much that happened. So, but I don't really hate the episode. I don't know what was up with this episode. It was something, but prediction time. We see the Suzuki Esteem in the next promo in color, but what you might not have noticed is the back red door is open. So, assuming Kim told the police about everything that happened with Lalo, they go and find something in the car and there's something bad in there for Jimmy, or Jimmy goes back to the Suzuki esteem and there's something in there that'll bail him out. And when he's in court last episode for being in jail, Kim will use the lines that she used in the candle teaser. Big brain. I don't know. It was in. I didn't really. I don't. I haven't. I don't see the point, but maybe I will see it when. Maybe I'll see it later, like in Nippy. I saw what they're doing with the structure, but I don't really. Episode 12. I wasn't feeling it. Sorry, Vince Gilligan. No Bravo this time. Alright, it's been like 2 or so hours since I finished the series, and you know, this review is gonna be less analytical and have less of you know, like me pointing out references and stuff, because you know there's a lot like the light on the cigar, or that he's on the Wayfair lines. You know, I just named right now, but you know, I want to actually talk about like the complexities of the show, which I have not. I really feel like I haven't done that. You know, let's get emotional. You know, let's do that. You know, the last flashbacks of like, you know, Jesse, Mike, Walton, and Chuck. Like they're really odes to their characters. You know, it adds like inevitability and adds what the characters were like in whole. I mean, in reality, they're pretty pointless, but it works in like a more symbolic kind of way, you know? Like, Mike's regret being the bribes, which his whole character's around, you know, getting money for Kaylee and stuff. And Waltz is, you know, Gretchen and Elliot. And Saul doesn't name what his regret is, but I mean, we as an audience know what it is. Well, not what it is. There's several, you know, multi-charactered, multifaceted. Anyway, you know, the last time we saw Jeff, that was in episode 12, when he was in jail, and I guess he's just stuck there now. You know, it's a very similar situation to the heel in the safe house thing. You know, but you know the writers just probably didn't feel like answering that. And since I'm gonna say for sure, never coming back to this universe ever again. Yeah, we're never gonna find out what happened. He's just in jail. And since they caught Gene, and you know, since Marion called him, and you know, the police probably put two and two together about the scam and all of that, and he was probably prosecuted and stuff for all that. So Jeff is probably in there for a long, long time. I don't think he's in there for the JCPenney heist, but because why would they tell him about it? But I mean, if Saul wanted to confess to everything, I guess he would. I mean, if Saul confessed to everything he's done in his life, he probably would have like way more than 86 years in prison. I mean, Saul may have given himself up, you know, and he's just known as the character, the criminal lawyer forever now, but especially when he wants to be called by his real name, you know, he's still called Saul. So, you know, what I'm thinking is, like, was he ever a good person? His only attempts were, like, really in season 1. And it still seems he's not, but he gave all his crimes away in court, and he's content in jail. But this brings the question, can people change, and it's all good? I mean, yeah, you can change, but your past actions still happened. And I believe Saul is good, but he was led astray. I feel like if you just give him more of a chance, particularly by his brother, I would say, you know. But the last flashback of him was, like, you know, trying to connect to his brother, and that didn't really happen. But Jimmy and Chuck really live on two different worlds, I would say. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it, but I've spent the last few months talking and thinking about this show, and watching this. I bet you're as like emotionally invested in this tiny review as I am. But now it's over. I don't really know. That final shot of Saul pointing his fingers at Kim, like it actually made me cry. I don't know. I didn't really know I was that emotionally invested, but it did happen. I always think I'm more analytical with what I watch than I am. I mean, of course, there's emotion. Like I'm emotionally invested in something, but that hasn't happened for a show or anything in a really long while. Because I know you could tell, like, I'm way more. It's just a sad feeling to see this thing go. I mean, it's like 130 hours of TV in total, and I've been invested for, like, since 2020. This is, like, a big part of myself for a while now. And, yeah. But I hope the person watching this knows what I mean. When there's, like, there's, like, a million reviews of these out here. I hope you, like, see the person behind it. Anyways, that's me being sincere. Mic drop, and goodbye. There is no main character. It's just a cascading number of decisions with so many people. All complicated people with varying motivations leading down to this one ending. It's such a human narrative. In reality, no one would have really wanted anyone to have died, for the most part. But like Mike said, all their choices lead down a road, and everyone from Gus, Saul, Mike, or Walter all ended up here. It is fun to think about what could have happened if Chuck showed some sympathy, or Jack didn't kill Hank, but every choice led to this, and that's what the stories do. They're unfolding pieces. This is what happens when you have a team of dedicated writers who work for over a decade to reach their vision, and they didn't miss once. Some may call it luck, but when you're dedicated to your craft this intensely, you'll produce something that has at least a little bit of soul. And that's a little bit inspiring, and that's why I need Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould to direct my life. So thank you to the guy who made the joke to Vince at least 15 years ago that they should make mess inside an RV. You might have just butterfly affected your way into making one of the best TV series of all time.
We all make our choices. And those choices, they put us on a road. Sometimes those choices seem small, but they put you on the road. You think about getting off, but eventually you're back on it. And the road we're on led us out to the desert and everything that happened there and straight back to where we are right now.
I can't believe there's like over 1 billion people on this planet. And the only person I have to talk about this to is you.